Good morning, students. You know very well we have understood about the centrally planned economy, where all economic activities were planned and controlled by the central authority or the government, and all important decisions were taken by the government with regarding to production, consumption and exchange of goods and services. The main objective in such economy was to achieve social welfare. Today we are taking up another important economic system, and that is market economy. So, before understanding market economy, we need to have an idea that in market economy, who plays an important role, what are the objectives of such economy and how it works. So, all that you are understanding in this market economy. In a market economy, all economic activities are organized through a market. So, what is a market is a question. A market is an arrangement where economic agents can freely exchange, that is buy and sell their goods and services, endowments or services. That is what the term market refers to, which I have written on the board. You can just have a look at this. A market is a set of arrangements where the economic agents can freely exchange their endowments or services. Here, freely, the word freely doesn't indicate that goods and services are exchanged free of cost. Here, the term freely refers to without the intervention of the government, buyers and sellers can have their exchange of goods and services without the intervention of the government is the actual sense of understanding the word free. Another important point that we need to keep is that the word market that we have to understand in economic sense is quite different from what we have understood in our common usage. In common understanding, a market refers to what? A market is a place where exchange of goods and services takes place between buyers and sellers. But in particular, it has nothing to do with a marketplace, or there is no hard and fast rule that the exchange should happen in a particular place. It is actually happens that for exchanging of goods and services, individuals may or may not meet each other in an actual physical location. A particular place is not necessary for having an exchange of goods and services. Therefore, interaction between buyers and sellers can take place in various situations or varieties of situations. Like if you take an example of a village, there is a particular arrangement where buying and selling activity takes place, for which we call it as village chowk. Whereas in urban areas, especially in cities, we have supermarket where we buy and sell the goods and services. Alternatively, people can have their transaction exchange of goods and services. People can buy and sell goods and services through various other communication through telephone or through internet. Today, people are going with more on online purchase, where let us take an example of exchange of goods like a cloth, right? A merchant from Mysore has to buy clothes from Mumbai, where a textile merchant in Mumbai is selling his materials to the textile merchant who is in Mysore. Here, without seeing each other face to face or without coming to a place, the transaction can happen. Buying and selling activity takes place in what way? Over phone, the merchant who is from Mysore may call or give a call to a textile mill owner saying that this many amount of commodities are required, and by paying the bills in the form of checks, they can exchange the goods and services. In this way, transaction or exchange can happen. Buying and selling of goods and services can happen even through internet as well as telephone. Therefore, there is no hard and fast rule that existence of a particular place is always necessary and at all time. Therefore, we have to consider that market is not just a place where goods and services are exchanged between buyers and sellers. Rather, market is an arrangement which allows the people to buy or sell commodities freely without much interaction is the most important defining feature of a market economy. For the smooth functioning of any system, it is imperative, it is very essential to have coordination between different constituent parts of the system, especially in a market economy when there is an interaction between different isolated individuals in the system. So a question arises, what force will bring coordination between the activities of all the individuals in the system? The answer to this question is price. In contrast to centrally planned economy, in a market economy, all the goods and services come with a price, where the goods and services are priced in a market economy. At that price, the goods and services have been sold. For example, if you go to a particular shop for the purchase of a book or a pen or something else, you would ask what is the price of the product, and the seller definitely will tell some prices so that you pay and you buy the goods and services. There is no much confusion in that. But without having any such factor, without having that coordination unit, there will be much chaos and confusion. Therefore, here price is a factor which brings coordination in the activities of all the individuals in the market system. How may be a question. To make you more clear, I can give you all an example. Let us consider that if the buyers have more demand, or if more and more people prefers a certain goods, the price of the good definitely will rise. The price of that particular good will definitely rise, and this will give a signal. This rise in price gives a signal to the producer of that product that the society as a whole are demanding such good. Therefore, he has to increase the production of that particular good. What I am saying here is that a higher price will always induces the producer to produce more of such good, whereas the lesser price always discourage the producer, or it will facilitate, or it will give a signal to the producer to reduce the production. Therefore, higher price means higher profit. When there is a higher price for the goods and services, producer tries to make more profit. In this regard, he tries to increase the production. Therefore, price gives information to all the individuals across the market and helps to achieve coordination in the economy. Therefore, in a market economy, the central problems relating to what to produce and how much to produce are solved with the coordination of economic activities, through the coordination of economic activities which are brought about by price signal. Henceforth, we say that price plays a very important role in a market economy because it tries to bring coordination among the activities of all the individuals in the system. Therefore, price is a coordinating factor, we can say. Another relating concept that we need to look into is that in reality, if you see all the economies, almost all the economies are mixed economies. So what is a mixed economy? Mixed economy is an economic system where some important decisions are taken by the government and many of the economic activities have been conducted through the market mechanism. Therefore, there is coexistence of both public and private sector, where there is a characteristics of both centrally planned economy as well as market economy. We call such economy as mixed economy. Why we need to consider all economies as mixed economy? Because there is existence of both government as well as the private sector. Henceforth, we consider almost all economy as a mixed economy. One of the best example that I can give you is that if you see USA, there is a government, but the role of government is minimal, but the free market operation can be seen on a larger extent. Likewise, if you see Soviet Union, which is the best example for centrally planned economy, up till 20th century, majority of the decisions were taken by the government, whereas if you look to India as well, definitely in India till 1991 almost all economic decisions were taken by the government. Only after adopting liberalization, privatization and globalization, that is new economic policy, the role of government has been reduced. Therefore, preferably there is a saying that all economies are mixed economies. I believe you all have understood about the centrally planned economy as well as market economy. Let us now analyze the distinction between the centrally planned economy and the market economy. The first and the foremost difference that you can see between centrally planned economy and market economy is that all economic activities are planned by the central authorities, which was initially understood when we started with the centrally planned economy. I told you that all economic activities are planned through the central authorities. They are planned by the government, which is nothing but central authority. As far as market economy is concerned, all economic activities are organized through the market. Then the second important difference that you need to see is that the motive of production is to achieve social welfare. In a centrally planned economy, since government takes all important decisions, the main motive of the government is to achieve maximum social welfare, not profit. Whereas market economy is concerned, the main motive is profit making. Since there is free interaction between buyers and sellers, since demand and supply plays a very important role, the private players always sees that how to maximize profit by investing in one or the other productive activities. And the third difference that you can see is that production is governed by planning mechanism. I told you here in centrally planned economy, all economic activities are planned by the central authority. So everything here works on a planning mechanism, whereas in market economy, production is governed by price mechanism. Here in market economy, price is a main factor which plays a very important role in bringing coordination between buyers and sellers, or in the economic activities of all the individuals in the system. Therefore, that mechanism is called as price mechanism. So production in market economy is governed by this price mechanism. Then comes the main role in centrally planned economy is played by the government, whereas if you consider market economy, the role of government is limited, whereas the main role is played by the private sector. So these are some of the differences or distinction between centrally planned economy and market economy that we can identify, we can observe. Now let us move on to the next topic, that is positive and normative economics. So now we are taking up an interesting topic, that is positive and normative economics. When I started giving the introduction towards your syllabus, I told that traditionally the subject matter of economics has been studied under two broad branches. One is micro, the other one is macroeconomics. We have another important modern branches of economics called as positive and normative economics, where we have to concentrate and understand this particular topic for the day, that is positive and normative economics. We may have to go back to our previous topic, that is central problems of an economy. Why? Because when I was explaining you all about the central problems of the economy, what to produce, how to produce and for whom to produce, it was mentioned that every economy has to adopt suitable mechanism to solve their economic problems related to allocation of resources and the distribution of the final mix of goods and services. However, if you see, there are various alternative mechanisms that are available. So which particular mechanism is desirable for the economy as a whole is to be decided. So it becomes very important to understand which is the feasible or desirable mechanism that actually suits the economy as a whole. In this regard, in economics, we have two particular analysis which can be split into positive economics on the one side and normative economics on the other side. In economics, we attempt to analyze, that means we try to analyze the mechanism, the different alternative mechanism, as well as we try to figure out the outcomes resulting from each of this mechanism on the one side. On the other side, we not only analyze, rather we evaluate among these alternative mechanism which is desirable and which is not. So on the one side, the mechanisms are being analyzed depending upon the previously collected facts. On the other side, we are actually been evaluating whether the mechanism is desirable or not. Therefore, in this regard, there is a distinction in the analysis, economics analysis, and that is positive economic analysis and normative economic analysis. So we must understand what is positive economic analysis and normative economic analysis. When we try to figure out and analyze the mechanism, different mechanism, depending upon the facts, we call it as a positive economics. Or in other words, you can say that in positive economics, we study how the different mechanism functions. How the different mechanism functions, if we attempt to analyze that, we call that analysis as positive economic analysis. Whereas if you consider normative economics, here we try to evaluate, that means we try to give a value judgment, what is good and what is bad, whether that mechanism fits into our economy, whether it is desirable or not. That is being analyzed in normative economics. Therefore, normative economics always sees that a suitable mechanism, whether it is desirable or not, it is being understood with this analysis. Therefore, we say that in normative economics, we try to understand whether these mechanisms are desirable or not. On the one side, in positive economics, we try to study whether the different mechanisms, how it functions, how the different economic mechanism functions. On the other side, in normative economics, we evaluate whether these mechanisms are desirable or not. If we consider positive economics, it studies the situation, economic phenomenon, depending upon the collected economic facts. It studies the ongoing functions of the economy. Whereas if you look into normative economics, it gives a value judgment. It passes a value judgment saying that what is good, what is bad, what is right, what is wrong. The study of what was and what is nothing but positive economics. But the study of what ought to be, how it should be, how the economy should go about, everything is being evaluated and the value judgment is being passed on the functioning of the economy, the mechanisms of the economy, for which we call it as normative economics. So this is what you need to understand from your examination point of view. For 2 marks, there will be a question relating to the distinction between positive and normative economics, but you must always understand that in positive economics, we study how the different mechanism functions, whereas in normative economics, we try to understand whether these mechanisms are desirable or not, whether it gives a good result or not, whether it is good or bad, whether it is right or wrong. That value judgment is being passed in normative economics. To make you more understand about the positive and normative economics, let us take a statement which is nothing but a hypothesis. If you look into a statement which I am going to give you now, it says that the government provided healthcare facilities increased the public expenditure is just a statement. I am repeating it again. The government provided healthcare facilities, increased the public expenditure. It is just a factual statement. Depending upon some data, a statement is being just passed. Here, this statement is not saying whether government expenditure is needed or not, whether it is right or wrong. It is just studying about the functioning of the economy or this the government expenditure. It just says, it just gives a statement based on the fact, but it does not give any value judgment. It is not saying what is good or what is bad. The next statement that we shall have some change. The government should provide healthcare facilities to all its citizens. Here in this statement, if you see, the government should provide healthcare facilities to all its citizens is a statement which is being given in the sense of normative economic analysis, because a normative economic analysis always passes value judgment. It says that it is the responsibility of the government to provide healthcare facilities. It cannot put to any scientific investigation. Rather, it finally says that yes, the government should provide healthcare facilities to all its citizens. It says that it is good that if the government provide healthcare facilities to the citizens. Therefore, I always keep saying that the normative economic analysis passes value judgment. Therefore, this is the best example we can take in the form of a statement for understanding about positive and normative economic analysis. The study of the economic behavior or the functioning of the economy, what was and what is nothing but positive economics, whereas what ought to be, how it should be, is being explained in the normative economic analysis. How the different mechanism functions is being studied under positive economics, whereas in normative economics, whether these mechanisms are desirable or not, whether it is good or bad, it is being studied under normative economic analysis. I believe these examples made you very clear about the distinction between positive and normative economics. Students, depending upon the topics that is being covered till now, we are taking an important part of your question paper, and that is match the following. There will be 5 marks allotted to the match the following. Therefore, from this chapter, let us consider the match the following question, and you try to answer by your own when you see this particular clippings. But before that, let me see what are the match the following questions from this chapter that you can expect. The first question there is related to market economy. Just find that which actual concept is appropriate for the market economy. Here, do government considers as a perfect match to this? No. Why? Because government plays a very important role in which economy we have understood. It is centrally planned economy. Therefore, here in the market economy is concerned, it is the private ownership. Then when it comes to a service of a teacher, it is always the skill. I told you when I gave an explanation to a simple economy that the resources that a teacher has is his or her skill, which he or she can utilize to impart knowledge so that they can have some earnings. With that, they can fulfill their needs requirement by buying some goods and services. The third question, if you look into, is the centrally planned economy. Obviously, the perfect match is government. As I told you, in a centrally planned economy, who plays an important role? It is the government. Then comes positive economics. Just now, I explained about positive economics. What do positive economics does, or what do we study in positive economics? Obviously, we study about how different mechanism functions, therefore functioning mechanism. When it comes to normative economics, as I told you, it evaluates the mechanism, it passes the value judgment, it says which mechanism is desirable and which is not. So these are the 5 important questions, match the following question, that you can expect from Unit 1. We have come to the last part of the session, and that is your assignment part. Based on the topics that is been covered for today's class, I have given 3 assignment questions which you have to upload as per the procedures and formalities. Let us see what is the first assignment questions that you need to take. What is market economy? When I started with the market economy, I explained in detail, but you need to write in 4 sentences, which is required for 2 marks. You need to write about the meaning of market economy. Then the second question is, write a short note on market economy. Sometimes you will be asked with 4 marks question to write a note on market economy. In 12 sentences, you must explain market economy. I told you what is a market and how the various function goes on and who plays an important role. All that you need to write it in the form of a note. So the second important question is, write a note on market economy. Then comes the third question, distinguish between positive and normative economics. This is asked for 2 marks. Therefore, you need to distinguish between positive and normative economics in 4 sentences. So these are the assignment questions for you, student. Hope you all are updating your assignments which have been giving in all the classes. So I believe you all enjoyed my class. Thank you. Bye.